Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Legendary Sports Podcast. I am your
What
host,
up?
Jared
What up?
Michelson, with my boy,
Antoine Beeks.
the man, the myth, the legend. Oh yeah,
Hey.
some decent games this week. Not there was at least one side of most games that was at least decently scoring. So, well, we'll go through some of those here and give you the stats, some of the recap, and you know, who went in for us, who let us down, and who was a surprise. That's how we're gonna kind of recap some of these games, get you guys the information you need, and give you the highlights and the lowlights too.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
willing to
yeah.
kick it off. I'm willing to take one to start it off. If we want to go to New Orleans and Atlanta, one of the early games for the day, and man, oh man, highlights for this one: Desmond Ritter 168 for a touchdown, or low light. I guess that would probably be a low light because what is 168? Bijan Robinson 91 in the score. He also did some work in the air, 32 yards in the score with 3 receptions. I think he had 27 PPR points, and I sat him.
Man, he went off today. Did you see that he had a busload of his family come out to the game?
Well, that makes sense why he went off. See, I gotta start paying attention to those little details because that means the game script is all Bijan.
He had I think it was like 100 people or something like that, 114 people on like a
That's wild.
a charter bus come out.
I did not know that.
And
If I had known that, I
yeah,
would have started him in every league because those are the weeks that they're gonna go off.
yeah, he showed out today.
Yeah,
They
another show
definitely
out. Chris Olave on the Saints side of the ball. Excuse me. And Alvin Kamara, 2 show outs on that side of the ball. Now, Alvin Kamara is weird. He has to get his through the air because he doesn't get touchdowns. Luckily, he had 4 for 50 to go along with 15 for 69. So he had, was that for total yards? 110 total yards or whatever, and then a few catches on top of that, 4 catches. So he got me 15 points, which is fine or whatever the case may be, but not what I'm looking for to carry my week, but I'll take that for the highlights. And it's not, I mean, the lowlights are everybody else, right? If we're talking about the people who did well, the rest of the people did not. And so I don't need to go into the rest of the team for like Carr and everybody because they didn't do anything. They were terrible. This game was relatively terrible for the most part. If it wasn't Bijan, it was nobody.
Man, Gabe Davis was wide open here. I'm watching the game on the side. Gabe Davis wide open, and Josh Allen just missed it, man. And if he would have scored that TD, I would have won in the league, man.
Oh,
Oh my
really?
God, yes,
Are you
I
starting Gabe
needed to.
Davis?
I have to start Gabe Davis because this is one of those like Jimmy's and Joe's things now. Like he's just one of those guys that I gotta go. I mean, I know what I'm gonna get for the rest of my guys, and he's just one of those guys I gotta start
Yeah.
now. And he just they missed him. So yeah. Um, get back to fantasy wise. I think it's time. I think that the New Orleans Saints need to start Jabu. I think they need to start Jameis Winston and let him go out there. I could tell you one thing for sure. He'll throw a touchdown. And as well as Chris Olave did, and as well as the New Orleans Saints moved the ball, they didn't score a touchdown, did they? Or did they score one?
Let's go back
I
to
think
it.
they had four or five field goals.
Yeah, I don't know if they scored a touchdown. Yeah. My goodness. I think it was all field goals by Krupke or whatever.
Yeah.
Rup-
And I didn't like that. I didn't like that much. But on the flip side, I'll take a day game and I'll take one with a big surprise in it. Kenny Pickett throwing for 278 yards.
right? Yep.
I was really surprised.
Yeah.
And I traded him in a 2 quarterback league. I had him and I traded him for DTR. But I'm not a big, you know how I feel about Kenny Pickett. I feel like he's the 31st best quarterback in the league. You
Too
know,
close.
you show him love, but I think he's not that great. And so the biggest surprise out of it all though is, man, You just got this like little voice in my head. You be talking to me, even when you're not talking to me, and you know what it says, right? You know
The
what that little
Najee,
voice
Najee,
says to me?
Najee.
And he balled out today, man. 15 for 99 and a
I'll
touchdown.
give it to him
I
today.
mean, it was his day today.
It's only because Jalen
He
Warren fumbled early and they took him out for a
no,
while.
no, 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 no. Don't do that because
Yeah,
Jalen Warren still had 13 carries and he only had 49
yeah,
yards.
but he was out for a couple of
Not
series after he fumbled.
Najee only had 15 carries. He only had two more carries than him.
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
more
yeah.
important series.
It doesn't matter, man. Najee did what he does with his work, and I should have started him. But you know what? I didn't start him, and it is what it is. I didn't start him in one league, but also I didn't start him in another league because of Gus Edwards. So we'll see how Gus Edwards do tonight versus the Chargers. But Najee Harris, man, big surprise to me. Big, big, big surprise to
To
me.
me, there's two surprises on this.
No, there's three. One, you start with Kenny Pickett throwing for 278. I don't think he's thrown over 220 all year, if that. Right? Then you got Najee for 15 for 99 and a
Yeah, but
touchdown.
what did Kenny Pickett do
Then you
fantasy wise? That's a surprise, but not like a fantasy surprise. Like he didn't
Kenny
give you any
Pickett,
fantasy points.
dude. Let's go. Let's go here, right?
Like,
Let's go
like
here. Let's
you gotta remember, it's only like every 25 yards is a point when you're passing. So
yeah, but still, even Kenny Pickett is like, let me find him here. I don't even think that anybody has him on their team. He's so trash.
probably not. I'm gonna throw out the second or the third
No,
surprise.
no, no, no. Let me throw out the third
Okay,
surprise,
we'll
which
throw him
is
out.
Pat Fairmouth, man.
There
Pat
we go.
Fairmouth. He killed it today. 9 receptions for 120 yards. And I'm just like, man, how did you do that?
And I
How
picked him
did
up right
you
before
do
the
that?
week started. So in
Did
the
you start
MSU
him?
league. No, because I already started Logan Thomas. So I just
Oh,
realized I needed a backup tight end on Friday, and I'm like, I better grab him real quick, and just in case. And I'm super happy I did. So he's gonna be my future starter because Logan Thomas has been a bust. So
I guess that's not really much for Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, that's kind of average because he didn't throw a touchdown or anything like that.
right.
But Pat Fairmouth, man, was the biggest bright spot out here today.
Yes. Absolutely.
Man, and Devontae Smith is killing it in this game, by the way. Um, Jake Browning didn't look very bad today. 19 for 26, 227, a touchdown and an interception. Um, everybody was kind of serviceable receiving the ball from him, but man, the biggest letdown was Joe Mixon. He only had 8 carries for 16 yards. It was
Yeah.
really, really bad. It was really bad. Really, really bad.
Of course. Oh man, let's continue on some bad, right? Let's talk about some more. And let's talk about the Carolina Panthers, the Tennessee Titans, just the trash bowl of the season. Highlight for this one, Derrick Henry had 2 touchdowns, 76 yards. So that was a good highlight to see Derrick Henry get the score. This was kind of like a make or break week for Derrick Henry because he's been struggling. I think he had like 4 and 5 points the last 2 weeks, and that's even in PPR. So to see him come out and get the 2 touchdowns and on 76 yards, even though he only had one target, so that kind of like lowers his ceiling a lot. At least he got that 14, 15 points on the ground doing that with the touchdowns and yards. So actually that would be 76 would be 17 points, 17 or 18 points. So that works out well. He didn't kill you, but everybody else who played in this game absolutely did. I feel bad for the Carolina Panthers, man. Like I'm not bad. I feel bad for Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers because he's getting destroyed out there. That man is just getting eaten alive.
Man, I feel like
I don't even think CJ Stroud could save this because their offensive line is awful.
I told you that. I told you. And you was just like, no. No, I told you their offensive line is worse. He's been sacked 15 more times or something like that, 20 more times when I broke it down to CJ
I
Stroud.
never said they weren't Yeah, yeah. I never said they weren't
You
awful
did.
though.
You tried to say
I said they
that.
weren't worse because I don't know if that's true or not because we looked at the stats and there was some closeness. You got more sacks, but I think there was something with pressures or something that was different. Anyway, beside the point. Point is, it's still a bad offensive line, and it showed.
Big time.
Like you can't. I started Thielen in the league. I think I'm done starting Thielen. I think I'm done starting anybody for the Panthers for the rest of the season. I think that's basically over. Even Chuba Hubbard scored. He had 45 yards to score, but that's not reliable. Like, I'm not going to try to bank on him scoring if that's what's going to give me fantasy production, right? He did have 5 for 47 in the air, so he's a passing down guy. And then if you have, what's his name, Sanders, you can just forget about Sanders. He got 15 rushing attempts, but he doesn't do anything with them. Low lights. There you go. And there's
Low
no
lights.
surprises in this one. Everybody predicted it would be terrible for fantasy, and it was.
Well, here goes some highlights, man. And this was pretty much one of those games of the day here. Jacksonville versus Houston. I was really hoping that Houston was gonna pull this out, but Trevor Lawrence said not to be outballed, right? 23 pass completions, 364 in the air, a touchdown and an interception. This has kind of been Travis Etienne's, little deal. They've been kind of riding Travis Etienne back. And he didn't do much of anything today. He had 20 carries for 56 yards, but it was big, big, big for Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley has been showing up and showing out. Five catches for 89 yards and a TD. Christian Kirk, 4 catches for 89 yards.
Yeah, they got people involved.
They got everybody involved, which was great. And then on the other side, not to be outdone himself, CJ Stroud has just been balling. 26 for 304 and 2 TDs.
Jalen Hurts just won that game. Sorry for the interruption, but oh man,
Jalen Hurts just won it.
Yeah, Eagles.
Who did he throw a TD to? I'm behind.
Jalen Hurts took it himself. He rushed it in.
Oh my god, man! I don't care. Now. I'd rather had Gabe Davis get the things for my. I'm watching it here.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh wow. Whatever, man. Fantasy's so stupid. I hate this stuff, man.
He's salty.
He's so stupid. He couldn't have threw the ball to AJ Brown.
Funny.
He couldn't have threw it to AJ Brown.
No.
I know who would have. CJ Stroud, 304 and 2 TDs. Man, and he was on the ground today. 6 carries for 47 yards and a TD on the ground. But as much as we like Tank Dell, today was Nico Collins, man. 7 for 104 and a TD. But Nico Collins, 5 for 50 and a TD. I want to tell you this right now. I'm going to say this before next year. This team is going to be
something.
They're gonna be the Bengals, man. They are going to be the Bengals.
Yeah, they are off to a hot start.
They got 2 really good receivers. It early on it looked like it was Nico Collins, right? He was there a year earlier. It looked like T. Higgins was before Jamar Chase. Then Tank Dell started pouring it on. And then Nico Collins today is like, hey, look, don't forget about me. I can still do this, man. Mm-hmm. And these guys, take your pick, man. Whatever we have at it. But I tell you one thing, my remarks of staying away from the Houston Texans offense, period, has changed drastically, right? And everyone's going to be on that train. So those wide receivers are something special, man. Tank Dell and Nico Collins.
Yes. You know who's not special?
The Giants.
And the Giants. They are not special. I mean, they're special. But
hey, tell me how many turnovers between this game.
Oh my goodness. I mean, Jones and Zappe had 3 and interceptions. DeVito didn't throw any picks, but I don't know what the fumbles were. If there were any of those, I'd have to go look at the drive log and see what happened for fumbles and everything like that. But man, it was like Sackville for the Patriots. I think they had like 6 sacks or something like that. Their defense, something wild. I can look that up here in a second. But It was just awful to I didn't even watch much of this game because it was so hard to be a part of. Only highlights. And one was weird. I should say one surprise, one highlight. Highlight would be Ramondre Stevenson took over the backfield, 21 attempts, 98 yards, and a touchdown. So you like that. And he had 5 receptions, only 9 yards, but who cares? That's 5 points in PPR that you can definitely use. So I'll take that for real. But then Jalen Hyatt as a surprise for the Giants. What happened here? Where did this come from? 5 for 109. Are you gonna pick up Hyatt? Do you think he's got a future, or is this just a random fluke that just happened?
Man, I can't bank on any of that, man. I'm not banking on any of that.
I agree. No, that is rough living from this game. This game was an absolute dud, as expected. I don't know what's up with Mac Jones. He is not the 2021 pick that people thought he was going to be. He's embarrassing the Alabama quarterbacks that got drafted into the league. My goodness. Sorry, Mac Jones, but that is what's happening.
Hey, there was 9 total turnovers. 9 total turnovers. DeVito uh DeVito fumbled twice, and then Nick McLeod fumbled once. They had 3 interceptions, and then also Mac Jones fumbled twice, and then somebody else fumbled. So there's 9 total turnovers
That's wild.
in that game. So also we made a bet. You had the New York Giants defense, and
Having
I
more
had the new
points.
huh?
I had them having more points, and you had the Patriots defense having more points, and those sacks racked up because you got the more points. I think the Giants in our league had like 13, and then the Patriots had 15 or 18. So you won.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
owe I owe you a meal now. So
All right. All right. I'm okay.
I'm
Okay.
not eating for
Okay.
free this. I'm not eating for free this week, man. I'm not eating for free this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, okay, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Man. I'll give it to you. I love prop bets, but I hate losing them.
Yeah. I know, right? It was close though, man. There was a lot of back and forth. I knew it was gonna be ugly.
Yeah, it's funny. There's two different types of back and forth. There is good quality football back and forth, some good offensive power, and then there's whatever this sideshow of loser was, which is just turnovers on turnovers because of poor planning and poor play.
Yeah. It was awful, man. They stunk it up on both sides of the ball, man. It was really, really bad. I can tell you who didn't stink it up on both sides of
Went
the
to the
ball,
afternoon
though.
games. Yeah.
No, not the afternoon. It was Gardner Minshew,
Oh, we got
man.
one more. That's right. We got the
250,
Minshew Mania.
251. My boy Jonathan Taylor, 15 for 91, 2 rushing TDs. Also, Gardner Minshew snuck in there and got him a rushing TD,
He keeps
right?
doing
And
that for some
Michael
reason.
Pittman Jr., 10
I told
catches
y'all,
for
by the way,
107 yards.
on Friday. I told y'all, Pittman.
You did, you did, and here's the thing, man. This is why I stayed away from Michael Pittman. I like Michael Pittman. I stayed away from drafting him early because I didn't want to go through those ups and downs with Anthony Richardson, and he's a running quarterback, so I didn't want to put myself in that, being like, oh well, this quarterback runs, and quarterbacks who run, i.e., Lamar Jackson, um, Kyler Murray,
Mm-hmm.
take away from guys on your team that sometimes they see him and they just like, well, I know I can run this for 5 yards for sure, or maybe more, rather than risking this 15-yard pass. So they just run it instead of trying to throw it into a tight window or something of that nature, letting the receivers make a catch. And with the young development of Anthony Richardson, I just wasn't on board with that. But I remember telling you earlier the best way that this Indianapolis Colts team has a chance to win is if they start Gardner Minshew because he could throw the ball.
Did.
And he throws the ball, man. 10 for
But
107 for
we'll
Michael
never
Pittman.
know right now with the injury to Anthony Richardson what could have been. So
We don't. And on the other side of this, man, the only bright spots, and I'm just gonna leave it at this. Well, I mean, Rachaad White had 15 for 100 on the ground, which was great. He normally catches the ball out, does a lot of work out of the backfield, catching the ball.
yep.
But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going nowhere fast. Fantasy wise, Everybody loves Mike Evans, right? As you should. And I think the best thing that's coming out of this is for some real life football stats, and that's Mike Evans continuing this 1,000-yard streak. So
Yeah.
I'm very thankful that Baker Mayfield is able to
And Baker
connect with
Mayfield
Mike
does do
Evans.
well with his number ones. He's able to find his number ones, and that's at least what he's doing here. So
Yeah. I mean, Mike Evans 6 for 70 and 2 TDs, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. What'd you have for me?
oh man, I'm living it up because this defense totally bailed me out this week, and that's the Denver Broncos defense. They had like 3 fumble recoveries, and this is
No,
a
no, no, no,
highlight.
no. I don't want to hear nothing about you giving
Oh,
the
you're
Denver
here
Broncos
defense
praise.
today, baby.
Don't let me hear you give the Denver Broncos praise. You was just talking about I didn't like none of it over there.
I don't like none of it, but I like it when they give me a bunch of. I picked them up and started.
You started them on
I
defense?
did because I knew
Oh wow, you
I
did all
knew they
that
were. I
talking
started
just to
against a
start
rookie
them.
quarterback and Dorian Thompson Robinson, and they had 3 fumble recoveries, 5 sacks. I think it was 5 sacks, and a safety. And so they just dominated. I got 20 fantasy points out of them for that. Thank you. That's a surprise, and that's a shout out for me. I usually wouldn't shout out the defense, but because they helped carry my team, you get one this week. Oh man. Otherwise, one other surprise, which it is for tight ends, is David Njoku. 6 for 59. I thought that was good to shout out just because you don't see tight ends getting enough activity out here. So have ones that can get you 11 fantasy points, basically 12. I will give you that. But there it was a lot of struggleville out here. Except for Russ. I'll give Russ a little love too. He only had 134 in the air and a touchdown, but he did have 34 on the ground, which is different Russ, right? He had 11 attempts. So then usually you don't see him go that high in attempts, double digits. But he scored on it and it worked. So if you use Russ at all in 2 QB league or anything like that, you weren't overly sad.
Shout out to Russ, man. Shout out to him getting that 5th or 6th win in a row or whatever it is over
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah. I think it's his 5th win in a row. Yeah, I think you're right. So
Shout out to Russ. Everybody wrote my boy off, and he ain't right back. Geno Smith
I'm
did though.
still, I can't really say anything now. 5 wins in a row and 2 against some really good teams. I can't say anything for hate. So as much as I want to.
Well,
you know what? I'll take another one in a row if you want, and I'll give you the good one for the night.
Go ahead, you
your
can
boy
have
in
it.
it.
Go ahead, you got it.
I'll do this one for you.
You got it. Go for it.
Yeah. We're going to the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to the LA Raiders or Las Vegas Raiders, excuse me. And man, Patrick Mahomes, 298, 2 touchdowns. You were happy with him again. He didn't make you sad for the week. He's still not the Patrick Mahomes that we all know, right? We're still not talking like elite fantasy numbers, but these are not ones that you will cry about. I mean, when I say elite, like the 40-point games that we were used to, right? Josh Allen and then these guys who can do that or have been doing that. Dak Prescott who put up 40, like that's what you expect from Patrick Mahomes, but you're not getting that from him. So that kind of stinks. But that being said, those yards were able to get 2 key players involved. Travis Kelce, 6 for 91. Rashid Rice, 8 for 107 and a touchdown, which about time, by the way. About time. Those are the 2 ones that have been holding it down and been consistent in Patrick Mahomes' eye, and it's great to see that Rice took the lead as being the number 1 receiver. Hopefully this continues, but we will see if it does. Now, your boy Pacheco, another boom, 55 yards on the ground, not a lot there, but 2 touchdowns and adding another 34 yards on 5 receptions in the air. So on the ground and in the air, excuse me. And on the other side, Josh Jacobs, 20 for 110, 1 score. Yes, started him in plenty of leagues, and it worked, and I am happy, and I will take that to the bank. Dang it!
Take it to the bank.
And I'm gonna give Adams some love here. 5 for 73, and Jacoby Myers 6 for 79 and a touchdown. That was a surprise. I did not think that this offense would function. This whole offense right now is functioning better than I thought with O'Connell under center. And he actually played a decent game himself for 248 to score. But just to get Myers and Adams some love and involved, that's good. Hopefully you can now ride that into your future matchups. hopefully there's some established connection there that provides some confidence in you starting these guys um during your fantasy weeks. I would say Jacoby Myers a 4 or 5, and then a who can boom or bust, and Devontae Adams as at least a high end number 2.
Yeah, Devontae Adams has definitely been coming alive for me. Um, and if you want to talk about somebody who's come alive, this guy is the week MVP for me. I mean, as everybody that's done anything, it's Kyren Williams, man, coming back off of injury. 16 carries, 143, 6 catches for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the LA Rams just beat up all over the Arizona Cardinals. I think you took the Arizona Cardinals in this one when I asked you who was going to win this game. I think you
I was
took the
wrong.
Arizona
I was
Cardinals.
very wrong. I thought at home, I thought with the way that the Rams were a little bit that it wouldn't be, but Kyrie Williams said no. Jerry, I'm not
But you know
listening.
what though? The low lights from this, I mean, Matthew Stafford was decent, right? 229 in the air, 4 TDs, 1 interception. I mean, the 4 TDs is big. 229, you would think with 4 TDs that he kind of lit it up a little bit more upper in the
This has
300s,
such good
325.
field position. That's why.
Yeah, they have really great defense going. But the low lights in this all, man, is we haven't heard anything from Cooper Kupp or Puka
Yes.
Nacua in the last several weeks. And it's looking like as if um some of that Devontae Adams stuff that I was dealing with for that like stretch of like 3 or 4 weeks where I was losing games because of it.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people around leagues losing games because of Cooper Kupp, you know, 3 balls for 18 yards and Puka Nacua 4 balls for 27 yards. When these guys are high volume wide receivers, they're just names now. I
Yeah.
mean, Kyren Williams just came off injury. 6 catches for 61, 2 touchdowns. I mean, like, he outballed both
Right.
of them, and it's just
So,
like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So there are some low lights for you. On the other side, Kyler Murray, 256 in the air, 1 TD.
shout out to Higbee real
Um,
quick. 2 touchdowns.
Higbee with 2 touchdowns for sure. Marquise Brown, 6 for 88. Trey McBride, 7 for 60. I'm interested to see where this Arizona Cardinals team goes next year. Kyler Murray is looking real Kyler Murray-esque, like he looks decent. Um, but no
The
DeAndre
offensive line,
Hopkins.
if there's any offensive line that might be worse than the Panthers, it could be the Cardinals offensive line. It is bad.
Well, um, so you named 2 offensive lines now, just by the way, before you got to the uh before you got to the Texans offensive line. So now we know a little Bryce Young is in a little bit of a worse spot, right? But Kyler Murray was looking decent, 256 in the air, a TD, no turnovers, right? And those guys, like, I'm just interested to see where this Arizona Cardinals offense goes. I'm interested to see where they go. I'm interested to see what they do because, they went to tank it, right? And I think that they tried to go get a quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
but Kyler Murray looks serviceable. I think they just need to add some weapons around him.
I don't know. I think Kyler Murray should move away from the Cardinals. I think that era for him there is kind of done. I think he should move on to a team that could actually use his services. And I'd hate to say it, but like, maybe put him in Oakland or something like that, or somewhere where their offensive line is not great, but it's not worse than the Cardinals, and it's not worse than the Texans, or not worse than the Panthers.
Yeah, yeah, for
uh,
sure.
so, but I think there's one of those situations where he's a good talent that needs a fresh start. Like, we always see bad talent getting fresh starts. I think we need to see some good talent getting fresh starts somewhere else. So,
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Um, there's you try to leave the Philly and the Bills game for me, and
I
you
am.
forgot about that game, huh? But I'm gonna take
Yeah.
the Philly and Bills game right here, man. This one was a shootout. It was high powered. It was a good watch. I didn't want to start shooting the pod before I finished the game. I was just like, hey, I'm just watching on the side. So
Yeah.
if y'all see me doing this right here, my head turned to the side, or I was kind of like looking over to the side, doing, I was trying to finish the game. And Josh Allen had a shot to win it. Gabe Davis 1-on-1. I wish they would have connected on that, right? I don't really care too much about the Eagles record. They just
I
moved
want
to
the
10
Eagles to
and 1
win.
though.
I don't. This Stephon Diggs rubbed me the wrong way so bad that I don't
You,
want
you
anybody
did you
from.
did say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, this show is about fantasy. It is about
Well, I
fantasy.
have a lot of
I
Devontae
think
Smith investment, and I don't have a lot of Bills. So to me, that is the fantasy that I'm going
man,
with.
man, I really could have used a Gabe Davis. I really could have used another Gabe Davis 35-yard
Who do you
catch and a
have more
TD.
of? You have more Gabe Davis, or do you have more AJ Brown?
Gabe Davis.
You have more Gabe Davis than AJ Brown on teams.
I got Gabe Davis in like every league because he's really underrated, I think. I think Gabe Davis is really underrated. And he's one of those boomer bust guys. Last week he put up a donut
You
for
don't have
me.
him in the MSP league, do you? No.
I think somebody snatched him before I could, but
Okay.
I have him in pretty much
That's why I was
every league.
confused. I'm pretty sure you don't have him here.
Yeah, I have him in pretty much every single league. Most leagues that I can. There's some people who either like him and pay attention to him, or there's some people who just like really like the Bills, and so they got Gabe Davis. But I think I'm in 6 leagues. I think I have him in like 4.
Gotcha.
But I only
Okay,
got
that
AJ
makes sense.
Brown in 2. I think 2 or 3.
Gotcha.
Um,
That makes more sense. Okay.
but Gabe Davis is a boom today, man. 6 catches for 105 and a TD. And he was just right there from being 7 catches, 143 yards, and 2 TDs,
Mhm.
But that was a boom. Not necessarily a boom for Josh Allen, but when he doesn't hold the ball and he gets it out to everybody, he has numbers like this: 339 and 2 TDs, and an interception. But he hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He hit 8 receivers, 4 of which had 40 yards or more with multiple catches. Like that's the Josh Allen that I like to see. They didn't run the ball particularly well. Josh Allen did nine carries. This is a surprise. I didn't see that. 9 carries for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground for Josh Allen, as well as throwing those 2 in the air. So I got killed by Josh Allen today. I mean, Josh Allen killed me. He put up like PPR, he put up like 50 on me, I think.
Oh,
He
really?
really did. Yeah, he really did it to me. He really did it to me. The last time I checked, it was like 39 headed into like 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Mm.
So I'm sure he put up close to 50 on me.
Yeah, it was
Um,
47 in our league because we do 6 point per passing touchdown. So
yeah,
it's
there it
like,
is. So that
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It was somewhere and
But I
47.
played Josh Allen this week and I survived him because the rest of the guys' team did dog crap. It was bad. So I
Man, I wish
survived the
that
47 point and I should win because I'm done. I have 154 points and he has 102 with TJ Hawkinson left. So even if he gets 40 miraculously, that won't happen. But like, I still win. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's with me leaving points on the bench. And we're going to recap our week now since we're at the back end of the
here
podcast. I
let,
gave you all
let
the
me let me
stats.
let me shout out Devontae Smith real quick. Seven
Oh,
catches,
yeah.
106 and a TD. AJ Brown had a TD, but he only had 5 for 37. Man, I just wish that I could get my whole team to function at once, man. When he was out here putting up these 100 balls with a TD, 9 catches and stuff like that, I felt like we was doing great. And now it's just like he's just regressed, and now Devontae Adams is taking a step forward. And it's just like, dude, Devontae Adams is scoring 4 points, 3 points, 2 points. And now Devontae Adams is putting up 12, 14, 15. And that's, 10 more points than what you were putting up before is a
Yeah.
lot in the standard leagues that we're in and in PPR. I
Yeah.
mean, and I've lost 4 games this year of 5 or under, and those was the ones where Devontae Adams was putting up 2, 3, 4, and 5 points that I lost. Those games. And now that Devontae Adams is on the other swing of it, AJ Brown's down now.
So that leaves me. So now I'll transition into the our fantasy weeks. Then, giving that information, how are you feeling? Let's start with the MSP league. How are you feeling there? We'll just do the leagues that we're in. How you feeling in that one this week?
I think
I'm looking at your stats. I kind of have an idea of where you're resting, but I don't want to. Oh,
man,
you say your piece about how you feel, and I'll say my piece about it.
well, here it is, right? You talk about points being left on the bench. I got Jason Myers on the bench with 10 points, the kicker for the Seattle Seahawks. And I started thinking that the Detroit Lions was just going to beat up on the Green Bay Packers, and they did it. And they got behind. They stopped kicking field goals. They went for 2-point conversions
Yep.
every time they scored the ball and stuff like that. And he missed the kick early on, which got me -2 points. So there's that, right? That's a 12-point difference, right? And I'm down right now, I'm down 8 points. So that's 12. I'd be up 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Washington defense, I mean, I guess I could kind of say that's my fault. I got -4 points there. The Dallas Cowboys lit them up. But the way that the Washington Commanders played the Philadelphia Eagles, they got up for them. They played really well on both sides of the ball. They made it a slugfest,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Philly had to pull it out in the fourth quarter and make some good plays. Both times, I thought they would be willing and up to the challenge to play the Dallas Cowboys, especially on Thanksgiving. And they just got slack, man.
Yep.
So those were there's where I left some points on the board
Yeah.
there.
2 negatives doesn't help you, man. That doesn't help you at
Yeah,
all.
2 negatives doesn't help. And then also Jared Goff cost me 10 points. He had 3 fumbles, which is it 3
3
points
points
per
per
fumble?
fumble in our league, so it's
Yeah,
aggressive.
so there's another 10 points I got left on the board right there. And I'm just looking like, man, this is just bad. And then of course, on the opposite side of it, right? Calvin really finally wants to wake up, 22 points on my head. Tony Pollard finally wants to find the end zone, 22 points or 21.3, basically 23 points, right? Want to put 23 points on my head. And then CJ Stroud has just been the man. I can't be mad at that. He put up a 38-piece burger
Yeah,
on my head.
he
So
did.
if Jared Goff could had 10 more points, I would have had 32 out of it,
Mm-hmm.
rather than those fumbles that he lost. I had 32, and then I'd have been sitting a little bit better there, quarterback per quarterback matchup. But it's just not looking good for me, man. It's really not looking good for me. I'm 8-3. It looks like I'm gonna move to 8-4, which sucks. But I got Gerald Everett going right now, and he's in the red zone right now, and he's playing pretty decent
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, he's got
But
one catch already for like 30 yards or something like that, or 31 yards. So that's a good start. But that's the problem is like the targets is like ebb and flow. So like he'll get that one catch and then it'll be like a quarter and a half before he gets another one.
yeah,
So that kind of stinks. For me, I'm actually doing pretty good. Not to steal the thunder, but we're getting down to the final minutes here of our episode. So let me give you a little recap of my week in the MSP League, which is the league that we are in together that we actually care about because the other one we're getting destroyed in. But this league right now, I'm gonna win for sure. I'm 52 points ahead, and he's just got TJ Hawkinson left. But my big players were Deebo Samuel with 22, Tyreek Hill with 25, 17 for Tank Dell, 15 for Kamara. Kyler Murray's serviceable for me. That game was bad, but he had 25 points out of it, so I'll take that. And the only player that he had on the other side, maybe Brandon Cooks, was Jared Allen. That was it. Everybody else on his team else was terrible. Cup and Barkley, they're all bad this week. So I basically just coasted. I'm going to 9-3 now. Thank you very much. And if Jake loses, who I hope he does, because I need this,
you'll be in sole possession,
I'll
man.
be
You
in
just
sole
took
possession
off,
of
huh?
first place at 9-4, and everybody else is 8-3, 8-3, 8-3, 7 and whatever, and then oblivion. I don't care about
We'll
the
be
rest of
eight
the
and
teams.
four. We'll be 8-4. You'll be 10-3, or
Uh,
9-3. You'll be 9-3.
nine and
We'll be
three.
eight and
Yeah.
four.
Yep. Exactly. So that being said, and on that high note, because dominating 8 straight wins. Appreciate y'all for joining and tuning into the Fantasy Football, our Legendary Sports Podcast Fantasy Football Edition, and we are out.
Peace.
Peace.